Turkey's president accused the opposition of sinking the economy as massive protests against the arrest of Istanbul's mayor continue.
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has said he will join his wife Usha on a controversial trip to Greenland this week.
A large Russian drone attack damaged buildings in several regions of Ukraine early Wednesday. Most were eliminated by Ukrainian defense systems and no casualties reported.
Turkey's president has accused the opposition of sinking the economy as massive protests against the arrest of Istanbul's mayor continue. The party of detained Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu called for boycott of companies that it says support President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's government. İmamoğlu was arrested last week and faces charges related to corruption and terrorism.
Bizi gayrimeşru yollarla alt etmeye gayret edenleri, ülkeyi ve milleti ateşe atacak kadar gözü dönmüşleri asla unutmadık, unutmuyoruz.
Many consider İmamoğlu's arrest to be politically motivated and a way to remove a major challenger to Erdogan ahead of presidential elections scheduled for 2028. His detention sparked the largest wave of street demonstrations in Turkey in more than a decade and deepened concerns over democracy and the rule of law.
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has said he will join his wife Usha on a controversial trip to Greenland this week.
And you know, there was so much excitement around Usha's visit to Greenland this Friday that I decided that I didn't want her to have all that fun by herself, and so I'm going to join her. I'm going to visit some of our guardians in the Space Force on the northwest coast of Greenland and also just check out what's going on with the security there of Greenland.
The U.S. delegation is scaling back its itinerary with a space-based visit after the unsolicited trip drew international criticism. Usha Vance initially planned to attend the national dog sled race and see Greenland's historical sites. Greenland's Prime Minister called the visit highly aggressive, and his Danish counterpart echoed the sentiment a day later by saying the U.S. is putting unacceptable pressure on Greenland. U.S. President Donald Trump insisted that the visit is about friendliness, not provocation.
A Russian strike on Okhtyrka in Ukraine's Sumy region damaged several houses, shops and an administrative building early Wednesday. The State Emergency Service reports that rescuers evacuated residents from affected areas and collected explosive debris for investigation. Additional strikes hit Kryvyi Rih and the Cherkasy and Kryvyi regions, though no immediate reports of casualties have emerged. Ukraine's Air Force confirmed that Russian forces launched 117 Shahid and decoy drones overnight. Of these, 56 were destroyed and 48 were jammed by Ukrainian defense systems. This marks one of the largest drone attacks in recent weeks, underscoring the persistent threat to civilian infrastructure and military targets across the country. The relentless nature of these strikes highlights the ongoing vulnerability of Ukrainian cities and towns, even far from the front lines. Authorities are urging citizens to remain vigilant as Russia continues to escalate its aerial bombardments with drones targeting critical infrastructure and residential areas.
The Dutch Ministry of Defence has confirmed it aims to more than double its military personnel, from 70 to 200,000 by 2030. The announcement was made in a letter from the country's State Secretary for Defence to the House of Representatives, who explained that times are changing.
Het wordt steeds onveiliger. Dat geldt ook voor Nederland. Nou, onze bondgenoten die vertonen ook af en toe wat terugtrekkende bewegingen. En dat betekent dat Nederland op zijn eigen benen moet kunnen staan.
In order to increase the size of the armed forces, the government will send a survey to all young people who are called up at the age of 17 to get them interested in serving. This is currently voluntary, but could become mandatory if expectations are not reached, says the government. It also aims to increase the number of reservists, those who work part-time for the armed forces, often combining their service with civilian work or studies.
The European Union has urged Serbia to deliver on EU reforms after months of record-breaking protests in the country. The call to Belgrade came on Tuesday after President Aleksandar Vučić met with the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and the Council President, Antonio Costa, in Brussels. Vučić said the meeting addressed the current political situation in Serbia and its path towards EU accession.
Razgovarali smo pre svega o strateškom putu Srbije u Evropsku uniju i o tome koliko Srbija može i želi da bude posvećena. Ja sam rekao da će Srbija da bude apsolutno posvećena tom cilju i više nego što je bila do sada posvećena, ali sam rekao takođe da očekujem da uskoro ili imamo odluku o formiranju nove vlade ili imamo odluku o...
Last week, Vučić's planned meeting with the EU's bloc's leaders sparked controversy in Serbia when around 32 MEPs demanded in a letter that von der Leyen cancel the meeting. The Serbian leader has faced increasing pressure at home with student blockades and protests that have persisted for more than 4 months.
Slovakia continues to rid the country of animals infected with foot and mouth disease after a state of emergency was declared across the whole country on Tuesday. Disinfection mats have been installed at border crossings with Hungary, while veterinarians and police are monitoring the situation in the field. The new outbreak of the disease has been detected in Hungary, approximately 15 kilometers from the Slovak border, near Bratislava. Slovakia's Minister of Agriculture confirmed on Tuesday morning a 4th case in the southwest of the country.
Record-breaking rains in March have brought relief to Spain after a stubborn drought last year. Spain received more than double the normal amount of monthly rainfall in the first 18 days of this month. That included normally arid regions like Andalusia, where floods forced hundreds to evacuate.
The blessing and the curse of Spanish climate is exactly that. We have these periods of extended drought that are usually ended with these kind of situations. Having said that, the rain we had in March, especially in excluding the northwestern, has been quite exceptional in most areas.
For now, the drought that began in 2023 is over. How long water reserves remain healthy depends on how much more springtime rain Spain gets and the heat of this summer. Scientists say climate change is making the swings between dryness and downpour more acute, as rising temperatures trigger extreme weather, like prolonged drought and intense rainfall.
An ongoing eruption of Hawaii's most active volcano restarted again on Tuesday when lava began pouring out of a vent in the caldera. Kilauea has been erupting on and off since the end of December, shooting tall fountains of lava into the air and spilling molten rock across the caldera floor each time it's come back to life. Hawaii Volcanoes National Park said the latest eruption wasn't affecting any residential areas. The current episode is the 15th of the ongoing eruption, which has been a popular attraction for tourists. Wind-driven wildfires in the southern regions of South Korea have killed at least 18 people and forced thousands to evacuate. They were among the worst ever recorded in the country. Thousands of firefighters, soldiers, and other personnel worked to extinguish the fires on Wednesday after strong winds caused them to spread overnight. An ancient Buddhist temple was destroyed, as well as houses, factories, and vehicles, as the fires burned over 43,000 acres of land. Palestinians in Gaza have staged a rare public protest against Hamas, calling for the militant group to end the war. Videos circulating online showed hundreds of people marching in an anti-war rally in northern Gaza, chanting slogans like Hamas out and holding signs saying stop the war. The protests reportedly also spread to other parts of the enclave, with some taking place as far south as Khan Yunis, according to online users. One protester said that while the rallies may not end the Israeli occupation, they could pressure Hamas to make concessions. Rights groups accuse Hamas of violently suppressing dissent, quashing protests in the areas it controls, and jailing and torturing critics. The protests erupted a week after Israel ended the ceasefire with Hamas by launching a surprise wave of strikes, which killed hundreds of people.
European Commissioner for International Partnerships Jozef Sikela visited 5 Central Asian countries as part of the European Union's effort to deepen its cooperation with Central Asia. His main goal, to advance the Global Gateway Strategy, an initiative aimed at mobilizing €300 billion of investments globally. In Central Asia, it focuses on 4 key areas: transport, critical raw materials, digital connectivity, and sustainable energy.
There is a huge untapped potential. We already have a pretty good base. We want to not only increase our presence, but we want to contribute to the economic development of the whole region.
Commissioner Sikela's visit was also marked by the signing of multiple contracts. In Kazakhstan, he witnessed the signing of a €200 million framework loan agreement between the European Investment Bank and the Development Bank of Kazakhstan.
And this visit in the region should basically not only underline the importance of the region and the importance of the European and Central Asia connections, but this is also about concrete things like today's signature of 2 major agreements.
In Turkmenistan, discussions centered on the Trans-Caspian Transport Corridor, a key trade route linking Central Asia and Europe. Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan focused on expanding hydropower and renewable energy, while Uzbekistan signed 2 major agreements to improve connectivity, especially in rural areas. Beyond economic ties, the purpose of Sikela's visit was also to discuss the preparation of the first EU Central Asia Summit, which will take place in Uzbekistan in April.